Around 2 months ago, I got an email from a company named Utrack inviting me to test what they called the first outdoor augmented reality glasses with thermal imaging integration. In all honesty, I thought there was no way this could exist, but I really wanted to check it out, so I sent them my information, and around a month later, these showed up to my door. This is the Utrack by Utrack, an outdoor use augmented reality goggle with sonar and thermal imaging capabilities. A few disclaimers before I start. This device was sent out to me for free by Utrack. There was no exchange of money, and I have no affiliate links with them. I will include a link to them in the description, but know I make no money from it, and I'm not required to make a positive or biased review for them. If you have any questions about this process or want to reach out to me, hit up my email in my channel or leave a comment. For the sake of my awful audience retention, let's start with the interesting stuff. These have two 1920 by 1080 OLED displays that are projected onto the lens using beam splitters. This lets you see through the eyepieces and the display simultaneously, like a video game. The image just floats about 15 feet in front of you and appears as an 80-inch translucent display. Anything that is projected as black is see-through on the screen. The display itself is quite crisp and nice. The colors look good and the lines are sharp. The glass itself has some slight problems though. It has a 19.5mm eye relief, which is right between the eye relief of a PVS-14 and a PVS-7. While this isn't a huge deal, combined with a rather tight eye box and no way to adjust IPD, this can lead to an ever so slightly blurred image that makes perceiving small text or details difficult. If I spend some time slightly adjusting it on my head, I found I can get everything perfectly nice and crisp. While the device itself does not have any physical optical adjustments, you can easily and comfortably wear prescription eyeglasses underneath the displays. The production version of this goggle will have new diamond curved optical lenses that should increase clarity. The goggles do make everything a bit darker. For navigation, 95% of the time this is no big deal. Just indoors it can make it a bit harder to see. I did find that the dark hue made shooting a bit more difficult. I felt a bit slower and less confident. Luckily, the display can flip up out of the way very easily, allowing for confident engagement. On to the second most interesting thing, the thermal sensor. The thermal sensor sits above the headband. It is a 384 by 288 12nm 60Hz core. It honestly makes a great image. It is one of the better thermal Chinese cores I've used. From my research, I found that this is one of those USB-C phone thermals mounted to the top of the headband. While I feel like this looks a little cheap, the thermal performance is quite nice, so I really can't complain. Details look really nice up close, and identification at longer distances is good as well. Latency is really not great, but it's not awful. My main complaint is how it is integrated. The thermal has a roughly 2 times magnification. Combined with the fact that it is on your forehead, the image does not overlay at all with your natural vision. Even though the display is see-through, you can either look at the thermal display or through the optic to see the outside world, not both simultaneously. This does not make it useless by any means though. I'll discuss use case opinions at the end of the video. Every once in a while, the thermal's contrast will get messed up on boot. I found that pressing the calibration button or unplugging it for a few seconds fixes the issue real quick. Once again, the image is really nice and easy to look at through the display. The large image combined with the pretty solid sensor makes for a pleasant viewing experience once you get over the fact that the images don't align. Before we get into the rest of the party tricks this thing can do, let's get the basic specs out of the way. The Utrack is made out of plastic. It weighs 508 grams with the battery and 455 grams without. It's water resistant. It takes a proprietary 3300 mAh battery. The battery itself can be charged via USB-C. 2 batteries are included with the headset. Fully charged, the Utrack lasts around 3 hours. The device has 128 gigs of internal storage, 4 gigs of RAM, and can expand its storage with a microSD card. The device is controlled by 3 buttons and a knob on the side. The controls are surprisingly easy to use and work very well with the software. No complaints here. There is a simple microphone and speaker on the right side of the glasses. Above the display is a camera that can be used to record and take pictures from the user's POV. With that out of the way, let's get into party tricks. This device includes an endoscope and fish finder. By unplugging the thermal, the endoscope can be plugged into the USB-C port. The endoscope can be used to diagnose issues with machinery and home inspections. The fish finder is a buoy with a sonar, with the following specs on screen. I'm not a huge fisher, but this is still neat. Kind of a sleeper feature of this device is its software. I'm no computer scientist, so bear with me through this. The Utrack runs on an OS called the UC OS. This software is very easy to use and intuitive, especially with the controls. The software itself feels decently polished. This OS runs off of Android, meaning Android apps can be sideloaded onto this device.
Officially, Utrack does not recommend this as it may affect stability or functionality. But after I did it myself and asked them about it, they said, and I quote, "If your viewers are technically skilled and enjoy experimenting, we don't object them to exploring such options at their own discretion." I honestly think that being able to install apps on this is one of its coolest features. I personally installed Google Chrome, Maps, and an app that lets me screen share my phone to the display, but possibilities of this are endless. Think of things like FPV drone flight integration, navigation HUD, and more. The ability to maintain a level of situational awareness while having near-instant informational capability is huge. In my mind and opinion, syncing the Utrack to a thermal weapon sight would be pretty sick. Allowing for easy aiming without having your head behind the optic opens a world of possibilities. Before unscripted thoughts and opinions, let's go over some of the changes that are coming with the full production model and some of the changes I'd want to have made for the next iteration. The production model will be made out of an improved nylon blend material, reducing the weight by 10 to 20%. The battery will be upgraded to a 3500 mAh for a longer battery life. As previously mentioned, the lenses will be upgraded to diamond curved optical lenses. The headband will offer a better fit, and the packaging will be better, which in my opinion, the packaging was already very nice. The engineering prototype does not have automatic brightness adjusting displays. I brought this up to the team, and they said that the production version will have auto adjust brightness, and my version will soon receive a software update that supports it. This was one of my biggest complaints with the device initially, but it's good to know that it'll be fixed soon with the full production run. The software on this device is great, and once the brightness issue is fixed with the full release, I will have no complaints. With hardware and ergonomics in mind, I think that there are a lot of changes that could be made. First and foremost, form factor. I would love to see the same tech in a clip-on or helmet-mounted format. Make the display dovetail compatible, meaning it can work with common mounts on the market like that. I would like to put all of the tech on the sides, these kind of weird boxes here, into the back of a helmet counterweight. Mine's covered by a wrap, but you see, this type of thing. And run a cable up to the front that connects to the display. I would like to see the thermal image much better integrated into these glasses. Even at a loss of quality or field of view, I think having the images line up like a Cody would make this a much more popular option for airsofters and hunters.
Okay, unscripted part. Let's see how this goes. First of all, if you made it here, thank you very much. Next thing is, if you have any questions about this device or anything in general, ask them in the comments. I try to get through all my comments. Don't email me, please, for questions anymore. I really only use that for business. If you want to directly ask me questions, join the Discord. Link is in the description, and that's a good place to ask me and other people for questions because I check that more often than my email. Yeah, so Discord there, comments, join. But let's get into it. First of all, this is cool. This is just cool. Very cool piece of technology, and I think that's like the first thing you kind of got to recognize. I mean, it kind of looks stupid when you're using it, but it is just kind of cool. And sometimes it's okay for things just to be cool. That's kind of cool. I see the USB-C connector on there. All more cool things are not always useful, though, right? That's something we just got to acknowledge. Really old car is pretty cool, but you won't want to drive cross country in a Ford Model T, right? I'm not calling this old, but you know what I'm saying. Cool stuff isn't always useful. But this is the start to what I think is a major push in night vision technology. First of all, beam splitters being used in night vision technology to get two images is the cutting edge. It's what's big right now, right? You look at, and I mean, this has been done for a couple of years now, starting with like stuff like the PSQ-20, but PSQ-42, which is the ENVG-B, that's like, that uses beam splitters. It's fusion night vision, and that's what the tech is in here, right? It's making you be able to see two images at the same time. Excuse me. And that's big. It's cool to see that in more consumer devices. And like that's my big thing with this device is it's super cool, and I'm gonna go over some things I'd like love to see with it. I just don't see much use for it right now, especially because of the fact that the images don't line up. I was kind of seeing it like when I was shooting with these on, it's like you could detect, and then you can engage through these glasses. I feel much less confident through them, and especially when you're stacking optics rather than just using iron sights, it just gets kind of whack through the beam splitted optics, right? So it's just kind of I don't know. It's just a little strange. So in that scenario, I do find that if I see something in my thermal, like I see the target, just flip it up really quickly, and then it becomes easy to engage. These things don't take up much. They're not heavy. They're not really pretty low profile. Then you engage. So that's kind of cool. But the thing is, like, a thermal binocular is a lot cheaper, and a lot easier to use, like, or convenient to use. So you can just kind of take it out of your pocket, see, and then engage if you don't have the advantage of engaging with thermal, right? So that's one kind of sad thing about it. And like, I don't hunt very much. I'm not a big hunter, and anytime I do, it's like more for pest control out on some land. People like the land I shoot on, like do some favors. You'll get rid of some pests for people. So it's more I just use my thermal binocular. Then once I find the thing, I just use my nods and take care of whatever beaver or thing needs to get shot. But there's not much utility to these, in my opinion.
This is a quick unscripted interjection with the idea of utility in mind. I know I just kind of said, like, when I'm hunting or something like that, I'll use both my nods and my thermals, to get the job done. And I kind of, after thinking and rewatching this while editing it, I'm kind of combining two really expensive superpowers into one thing and be like, oh, why don't you just use some, dual tubes and use a thermal? And like, after thinking about this, and we'll talk about price just a little bit later, I'll re-interject. This actually offers a lot of capability in a semi-convenient way, and I kind of need to get my head out of this. As like a hunter or person, the ability to instantly have a screen that is transparent is actually a pretty big deal, especially one that can sync with your phone, letting you kind of maintain awareness without putting it away. So not only do you have that thermal capability, but if you need to pull up navigation, you can pull up navigation intervals. So kind of, I know what I said was like, oh, why don't you use these two things? But having it all combined, these into one device, is kind of neat, instead of what I was talking about is using nods and thermal. So just keep that in mind. I actually think this is, after reconsidering it, more useful than I kind of thought a couple weeks ago. So yeah.
Because I think this has a lot of potential. So let's talk about what I want to see ultimately done with this type of technology. So for some of those aware, this is kind of a dream goggle. I might buy one of these at some point. But the PVS-21, these are low-profile beam-splitting night vision goggles that were developed for the U.S. military by, there's Steiner and there's one other company. I don't know. Besides the point, but very low profile, and it kind of uses a similar technology to, make very flat image that you can see through in the day, and you also could have night vision displayed on it. But you also can bring in a HUD using third-party technology that can involve thermal. Super cool goggles, not used very often anymore because they're a little gimmicky, but besides the point, super cool. And I would love to see like a modern take on the PVS-21 or these beam-splitting integrated goggles done by this company. And I think it'd be super cool and probably have a pretty large consumer base, especially if they can find a way where you just mount that little part to like the helmet, like you kind of see what I'm doing right now. That'd be so cool. I'd love to see that. So like what I think you could be cool is like, imagine if you got the ADNV G2P sensor in there, which is like it's a digital sensor, but it'd be very low profile, and it has crazy good performance comparable to some Omni tubes. Once again, it's like a $2,000 sensor, but like down the line, imagine you put that just right there, right? Then you get thermal to actually line up with your image. So then you could have fused thermal and night vision all projected on this extremely low profile display. just mounted to your thing. And not only because of that, because you have the fused thermal night vision, just because digital technology, you could bring in separate displays, right? Like we could do the drone HUD I was talking about, navigation HUD, your phone. Like I had my phone connected to those things. You can scroll on your phone through it. Then not only that, you could do like infrared weapon sights. You connect your weapon sight to that, so you have your like, you know, NVG thermal HUD, and then if you want to engage like around a corner, you just like press a button or something, and your scope feed will show up in your glasses. Like these are all things that could be done. None of this is new technology I'm talking about. It's just throwing it all into one device. And I think there's tons of different ways it could be done. I just want to see that. And this is really cool. It's the first version I've seen, at least, where we have a you know, augmented reality goggle developed for outdoor use. And, you know, the first of any type of consumer product is not going to be very useful to the average consumer, but it needs to start somewhere. And I'm excited to see it start. That's kind of my big thing on that. It's a really cool start. I would 100% stay posted and keep on paying attention to this company. And also, let me double check, because there's a parent company of these. Oh yeah, these are still on. So I'll put it on screen. The parent company that owns or develops the AR glasses. Stay posted to them. Kind of going off price for a second. If this thing was super cheap, I'd be like, honestly, you know, go for it. Cool thermal. You get a cool thermal core out of it. Cool thing to play with. Very interesting technology. Kind of some cool party tricks.
So, second interjection on price. So, initially, I kind of had this whole preconceived notion that this was going to be really expensive, and I kind of like looked at how much it would cost to build this, and I was like, this is just not going to quite make sense. And I kind of go on about that, and I talked to them, and if you go kind of look at their media, this might be extremely competitively priced considering the core. I still don't have an official number, but every single time I ask them, they're like, this will be competitively priced to other thermals with the same specs, which that in itself is incredible. And we're obviously talking about monoculars. I don't like thermal weapon sights. You got to recoil rate them. It gets expensive, but like that in itself is honestly so cool to me, because if someone was like, hey, do you want a monocular or do you want thermal augmented reality glasses that can run on Android? Every single day, I'm pretty much going to thermal augmented reality glasses, because that's just so much cooler. Like it gets the same thing done. Maybe not as convenient as a monocular, but I mean, honestly, once you get it on your head, then it becomes extremely convenient, you know? So I think that's pretty cool. If they're able to bring this at a market at the same price as a 384 monocular, this is going to be a super cool option, especially with all the capability that you can bring on with, you know, syncing to the screen with Android display. I think what I'm just trying to get at is like this has a lot of capability for the price that I think they're trying to advertise it. And I'll put in the comments, if they release it, I might just do a pinned comment real quick to rewrite my opinion if people care enough. But yeah, that's all I got.
Super cool tech. I'm excited to see what's in the future for this company, and I don't know. I'm honored to be able to try this and be one of the first people. So if you want to mess with them, honestly, they're a lot of fun to mess with. They're pretty dang cool. Just not super usable. If you don't have a night vision or thermal device yet, this would definitely not be my first. But if you've tried everything, I bet you haven't tried something like this. So super unique. And the fishing sonar is kind of funny. It has a lot of party tricks. It's pretty fun to show people. That's it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, if you guys have any questions, leave them in the comments or join the Discord, ask there. Yeah, if you're a company, feel free to email me. Yeah. If you're an individual seeking help on a build or something, just do it in the Discord. Or comments. Yeah, that's about it. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it here through the rant. I appreciate it. Budget helmet guide coming soon. Budget laser will be probably August, sometime around there. And I don't know. I gotta see. I actually have like money for the channel now, so I can buy cool stuff. And it's like hard trying to buy stuff that people will be interested in videos, because like I just want to buy more old night vision except that's a very niche thing. So that's it. Thank you guys. See ya.
The touch just may not be a dick. What? The MP5 SDs. I think they're a little overrated for the price that they cost.